All right. Well, hey, team. It is Dee Corchin. It's August 1st. This is our first Monday leadership meeting, executive directors and above for Coaches Up for Change, and trying to find our rhythm with this, trying to find our rhythm on the frequency of the meetings and the time of the meetings, the day, the time. And one thing I've learned as a leader is it's really hard to please everybody, to meet everybody's schedule. So our initial vote was that this was the preferred time, but I'm always open to feedback. It could be even something that we discuss. And then being on a Monday, the first Monday of each month, the other thing that we can kind of run into is like next month when it's Labor Day, and whatever. So, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm glad you're here. I have some slides just because I want to keep my thoughts in order, but there was something in particular I wanted to share up front at the beginning of this, which is really about the power of community and why do we get together, and why is what us being a uniform team, even as a leadership team, why does that make such a difference? How does that ripple into the rest of the team of our coaches, and how does that ripple into our into our clients and the culture that we're creating? So I'm going to share my screen just for a second because, like I said, I don't want to lose track on my thoughts. But give me 1 second here. Watch out. Okay. But I actually was learning about this yesterday, and it was actually a topic around community and human connection was what the topic was. But it talked about the guy was talking about the characteristics of quality teams. And I want to go backwards in these because in the workforce, and we're entrepreneurs, but we are working together. These were the 5 characteristics that they said built a quality team, really in order of importance. So the first one was that the team felt like they were making an impact together. So drop a 1 in the chat if you feel like we are making some good impact and if we are making a difference in the world, because we're changing lives. So I think that is really a given. And the meaning of work, that meant like for each one of us as individuals, and this is going to be different if you think of a corporate setting. Sometimes you ever, been in a job and you're wondering like, does it even make a difference if I'm here? Does my job really matter? And I think we're in a unique situation that each one of us, I think we can feel that meaning of our work. Although sometimes, if you're having a bad week, you might sometimes question it, but having that meaning of work, a team having structure and clarity. And that is one thing that we're always working on. I mean, the great thing about Optavia is that everything is so structured that we do and really try to make it clear, but we know there's opportunities there. And that's even some of the stuff we're going to talk about in terms of like new coach training. We're always looking to improve that. Dependability, knowing that you can depend on each other, that you can depend on your leadership team. I'm hoping that we score high on that. And then I think this one really, really struck me. It was called psychological safety. And what this means is, as a team, psychological safety is the ability to be vulnerable and creative. This kind of safety leads to market breakthroughs and leads to relational breakthroughs. And the specific examples were that you could express that you could come to an environment and you felt like, whether it's your leadership directly or into a meeting like this, but you felt like you could share how you feel. And also that you felt like you could bring an idea, and create creativity. And that is really the culture that I want to create and that I want us to have, and what I want it to permeate into the whole organization and to our team. But I really thought it was amazing because if you think about the marketplace, he was like, when you have a powerful team like this that has that kind of connection and that kind of safety, that's where you have the market breakthroughs, and that's where you have the relational breakthroughs. Drop a 5 in the chat if the community that you have built through Optavia coaching has blown your mind, and in particular, like our leadership group, the events we get to be at. I mean, most of us have been able to start connecting in a way we never have. And it was the reminder that we never outgrow that human need for love, for connection, for safety, right? And vulnerability. And the purpose of safety and vulnerability is growth. And he talked also a lot about the topic of shame and how shame really stops us in our tracks. Shame really cuts us off. Shame prevents us from wanting to be open. And I just wanted to read this because I took notes on it. He said, let's see. We have a place in our brain that always worries what others think of us, especially higher ups. As far as the brain is concerned, if our social system rejects us, our brain goes into fight or flight. Given that the sense of danger is so strong, organizations have to do some pretty special things to create psychological safety. And that was from Amy Edmondson. She's a professor at Harvard. So I think that I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about that all the way down to our client level. Right. And so many of our clients who come to us are dealing with, weight issues, shame issues, things that, that they've never really talked to people about, or really been vulnerable about. And we really do a pretty good job building that speed of trust in that environment of really getting people to open up to us. But I don't know, it really struck me. I'm hoping you're finding that of value, that really just let's take that heart of, even within your own organization of coaches and clients, that creating that emotional safe space for people, I just think would be, is just, I don't know, you can't match it. So I see a lot of nodding heads. So thanks for the feedback on that. I want to do a couple celebrations. We've got good stuff happening as we move on, you guys. So I just posted it today, but, bear with me for a second. Our 10K club, yay. So for the month of July, everybody here that was 10K or above is listed and to be celebrated. July was a unique month, right? was an interesting month. So for those of us, if you're not at 10K yet, if you're a newer ED or didn't make it this month, you know what, worlds are not colliding because you're not there. But this is always just a goal we like to recognize, because we know that individuals that are 10K or higher generally are the ones that are sponsoring. They are generally the ones that are don't have to sweat out the end of the month so much, right? It brings in the higher incomes, but it also brings out more people to talk to and more people we can offer the full opportunity to. And speaking of which, top of that list was Sarah Bond, only because it was alphabetical, but but congratulations to Sarah. So Sarah, if you'll come off mute, we would love to hear from you. Sarah reached the rank of fully integrated business coach. And so what that means is that she has a frontline volume of 6,000 or more. She is certified, and she has at least 5 coaches on her team that are helping 5 people or more. And, it doesn't sound that hard, right? Find 5 people that want to help 5 people. But I have learned that this is one of the most challenging milestones, or it can be one of the most challenging, because honestly, I believe it's the personal growth and the mindset shifts that have to take place. So let's hear it from the source. So Sarah, tell us about your journey, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. It's hard to know where to start. I feel like I in some ways I feel like I blinked and I'm here. And then in some ways I feel like I've been down in the trenches, fighting, so hard to create what I have and make it happen. But yeah, so I just feel like, honestly, it's about leaning into mentorship quite a bit. It's what it's been for me. Just trusting the guidance and not trying to go it alone. I know it was Jamil Frazier was the one, I believe, that talked about at convention, if you want to go if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And so just making sure that I'm coming to the meetings and trying to learn everything I can and soak it all up has been integral. And then just leaning on my direct mentors as well. And then honestly, I just have had to keep showing up. No matter what, just keep showing up on social media and for my clients. I feel, I've had life happening, right? Life is happening, and it can be really hard to stay focused and to show up. But I feel like, that's been a big part of being able to continue to move forward. What can I do today? What can I do? If I can't feel like I can't do it all, what can I do? So I think that's been a big part of it. And then learning from the disappointments. Susan Palace just told me the other day that it's about not letting the disappointments really get you down and get to you, but it's just taking those disappointments, looking at them and learning from them and growing from them. And, I've had to really do that. And I've had to really stay focused in that, because, when there's those months where, goodness, I had 12 people cancel their premiere in 1 month one time. That always sticks out to me. It was just like they just kept flooding in and kept flooding in, and it's like, what is going on? But it's just all about trying to flip the script. And what can I do next? If I'm freed up in that space, okay, that frees up my energy to focus on someone else or a new person or whatever it may be, new coach and all of that. So I hope that does that answer anything that I should have answered for you, Dee?
It absolutely does. Does anybody have any questions for Sarah? I think you nailed it. The secret to longevity in this business is get comfortable with disappointment, and anybody that you see at the higher ranks, they've just been through a lot more disappointment and picked themselves up and kept going. And it's not always easy. We've all been through it, but many people will face that mountain, and some will just turn around, and go the other way. So Elizabeth, you have a question? Sure. Go ahead. Just unmute yourself.
Sarah, first of all, congratulations. I'm so, so proud of you, sister. Second of all, we know you've been in this journey. We know you keep showing up. Do you feel like there was the way you showed up differently, or did this month feel different? Did you get to a certain point in the month where you felt like you really revved the gas, where normally you might take it off? Reflecting on it, did this month feel any different than the previous months?
I don't think that this month felt any different, but I will say that anytime I have felt opposition in my life, I step on the gas more normally in my business. So I'm not saying I'm perfect in that. Like I have my moments, but I know that this business has helped me to have the time freedom and the financial freedom to show up the way I need to and want to for the people in my life and that I love. And so I will say that I do feel like that I tend to step on the gas even more so when I'm feeling outside pressures instead of turning around and running back the other way. Like I used to do that a lot in my life. But I've learned, and I think I've grown a lot through the mentorship and through the trainings. And I've become more confident in myself. And I feel like that has helped. And then also just knowing too, that people in your organization and your team on your team are going to come and go. And they're going to kind of do things at different times. So like, it's important to keep sponsoring and to keep talking with people. That's of the utmost importance. I hope that helped.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, leaning in. At times when we get discouraged is often when most of us will cut back. Right. And we'll find, suddenly doing the laundry seems a lot more important than, making that phone call or whatever. And it's just, we rationalize it in our head. But yeah, really, really good point. Well, good. Congratulations. It's super exciting. And I know there's a few of us on this line that are really on the cusp of it as well. So keep pushing through. Okay, couple quick things, and I want to just open it up for open forum. As our leadership team, I think it is so important that we're well aware of what's coming up, what's out there, so that we can best be prepared, best utilize it ourselves, but also most importantly, be able to pass it on to our team. So a couple things just to talk about as you look at Sarah's face again. There you go. So the new Coach Accelerator program. So we've got a whole nother month, you guys, with this. So we've got through August 31st. This is the new Coach Accelerator. And I just wanted to put this up here again, because I know a lot of people have people on the fence about stepping into coaching and all of that. But this was a hypothetical example. We know that when a new coach comes on board, they're going to make their normal commissions, but Optavia is going to pay significant bonuses for acquiring 3 to 4 clients. It's $150. Or this particular example is if a new coach came on board this month, and in the first month of August, the month of September, and the month of October. And the reason I'm going over this is because I talked to a coach the other day that didn't realize it was for 3 months, and it's understandable. We've got a lot going on. These bonuses are available every single month. So just down on that lower right corner, it gave the example as if a new coach came on and they were senior coach this month, 5 more next month, 5 more in October, that after that, for just those 3 months, they would earn $39,4409. That's pretty amazing. Imagine stepping into a job and, in 3 months, making that. So we have a lot of people we know in economies like this, home-based businesses do extraordinarily well. We know the average person needs at least $500 more a month just to sustain where they were living, 6 to 8 months ago. So as we're facing this, and especially if you're facing clients that may be potentially saying they can't afford program, these are the kind of conversations to be having. So as your leadership team, we've been listening, and we know that I think the biggest thing we hear is fear of knowing what to do with a coach, fear of how to talk to a new coach. So in working with Lauren and Meg and Frank and Shauna, we've got a couple things in the pipeline. And Meg, are you on? Do you want to talk about the sneak peek into coaching that we're going to do next week? I'm not sure if she's on. Okay, there was potentially a conflict. So we have decided what we want to do is on a regular basis, at least once a month, do a sneak peek into coaching and do it right after the client community call. The one that we did last month that Meg hosted, every single coach, like the same amount of people that were on the 8 o'clock call were on the call from 8:30 to 9, and they all stayed on. So which meant they were curious and they wanted to hear. So we're going to do it all again next Tuesday night. The topic, Stacey Gillen and I are leading the call that night, and it's going to be on a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So this is going to be perfect to follow it in terms of growing in your own health journey. But we're going to do the sneak peek into coaching, which will be a light overview, mostly focused on coach stories from real people like you guys. Maybe coaches on your team. So this would be one, we're going to announce it in the group, but go ahead and start inviting people too. Lauren, do you want to talk about our new Stepping Into Coaching series?
Yeah, I'd love to. So actually, Lucy and I have been doing this with her team because her team's been blowing it up with new coaches. And she was like, I want to do something to kind of help with the training for them and making sure they're all getting the information that they need. And it's gone really well. And so I was like, well, why not try this on a bigger scale? And what's been really cool with the training that we've been doing with her team is just that it's really created a bond between the new coaches. And so we're really excited for this. It's going to be open to all of us and our coaches, kind of designed for people who are not yet senior coaches and for new coaches. But this could also be those people who, maybe haven't been as active lately, but are wanting to re-engage. And so it's a great time to be reconnecting with your coaches and just seeing if we can awaken them and seeing if them jumping into this can get them back into the community and back excited again. A lot of times post-summer, it's a great time to be doing that. So it's going to be 4 sessions starting on, it'll be Thursdays at 8 o'clock starting next Thursday, the 11th. And it's actually going to be led by Dee will be leading the first one. Dee will be leading the first one on casting a vision and then helping them with coming up with their list and getting into action and setting up their health assessments and training. The second week will be led by Meg and talking about social media, health assessments. and really, finding their pain point and awakening them during that health assessment, what that can kind of look like, and the importance of doing those with their mentor. And then I'll be leading the third week on social media, really getting them into action, helping them with sharing their first post if they haven't, kind of what to be sharing on their social media, how to stay consistent, how to follow up with people. And then Frank and Shauna are going to be leading the last one on really follow up and client support. And so it's going to be incredible. I'm really excited for this. And I'm hoping that getting them really invested into the community early on in their coaching journey will also help them to see the importance of coming to our training calls as well. So really, really excited for this. And we want you guys to be on this too, so that you can, I think we all can learn better ways to mentor and better ways to really be supporting new coaches. So it's a great way for us to kind of learn maybe some new tools or ways to really mentor coaches as they're coming on. So yeah, really excited for this.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And it's something we've talked about doing and we've never really put into place. So we're going to pilot it for 4 weeks, you guys. If attendance is good, it might be something you can let us know. Maybe when we open up the mics, if you think it's a good idea, maybe to keep it going ongoing. We're going to play it by ear, but do the 4-week session. So really excited to partner with everybody on that. I hope you guys will be a part of it. And then the last thing, you should have gotten an email if you were qualified as an ED in June or July. You are eligible to go ahead and register for Awaken. This is coming up fast, you guys. It's going to be here in the Atlanta area in Marietta. And we've got early bird registration through August 5th. So a lot of you guys have already registered, but you would have gotten that email as well, just because a lot of people, you could still have coaches on your team qualify. We've had some new coaches come in that are tearing it up. And I know a lot of people on this call are working hard to get back to ED or whatever. And we want you guys there with us. And it's going to be special. And it's a little unique. Last year we did it over at Stone Mountain. It was a little further away. So even local coaches stayed on site, but there was something really special about that. We're having it at a different location this year because Stone Mountain wasn't available. And it is right here in an area where many of us live. But for those that can, we would love for you to stay on site with us, and do encourage you to go ahead and book your room for that. We have a room block. It's for a limited amount of time. So it'll give us a good idea of that and our head count regarding the rooms as well. But it's going to be amazing. If you're registered already, drop that in the comments. And like I said, it's really about also who you bring with you. So other than that, I would love to hear from you guys. We're going to just open it up at this point. Really maybe about your momentum since convention, questions, how do you keep the energy up, what's going well, maybe what you're struggling with. Who wants to go first? Lucy.
I have a new coach that started on June 30th. And so doesn't qualify for any of the new bonuses, and trying to figure out how you all are handling those conversations with those that may have started on the 30th. And then a caveat, or I guess a B or second half of that question is if you all are aware of promotions that's coming on that's going to be starting like the 1st, and we're having someone that's interested in becoming a coach and they start the 3rd. I guess, how can we kind of know in advance that something like this may be coming up, because now she's missing out on all of the bonuses and it's leaving a sour taste?
I don't know if anybody has any comments on that. I don't want to just immediately jump in.
I can speak to that. I've actually had a few coaches that have come to me with that. One thing that's really important to remember is to keep an abundant mindset. So just so you know, we as leaders did not have any idea that it was coming. So they had a meeting with us that day, before they announced it to everybody else, but we didn't know it was coming. And I don't know, Dee, you can speak more to that of, how those things come about, but I think just remembering like what can be cool for your new coaches that maybe joined on June 30th is they can bring on a coach and they can earn the larger client acquisition bonus. So it's a great time to be talking with them about talking about coaching early and often with their people, and really importance of getting them to the celebration calls, getting their own clients to celebration calls so that they can be hearing really more about the coaching opportunity. But also just coming from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. Because there's always going to be, like, no matter when something starts, there's always going to be that person that jumps in the day before or the week before, or, oh, if I could have done this, or if only I could have done this. So I think just remembering the gift that it's giving them to coach and that it's giving to all the people, like just remembering the heart, because they're not doing it for the extra $100. They're not doing it for the whatever. And yeah, it stinks that they missed out on it by one day, but I think just coming from that place of abundance in the mindset. So that's all. Dee, you can speak more.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think there's an easy answer to it, Lucy. It is kind of, it's sticky, and it's, like when they did the $90 incentive, right? Like the $90 off incentive, and somebody ordered the day before, and in some way, like, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, gosh, like, it stinks like the day before, but like, if we gave 3 days notice, well, then the day before, the person before that would be upset. The person who ordered 4 days, like what is the right answer? So I don't think there is an easy answer to it. I know that the company doesn't mean any harm. They're trying to, do the best they can and keep business flowing too, right? Is they don't want people stopping and not moving forward because they're waiting for an incentive. Like if somebody's signing up and they have a new client, we want them to keep flowing. So I think the best we can do is exactly what Lauren was saying, is watch our mindset around it, and then just try to find all the positives. And like Lauren said, I like this one because that encourages them to have a sponsoring mindset, and they can earn, because I forgot to mention that, but that higher bonus, you as the sponsor for your new coach get that bonus one time. So you can get $250 if they have 5 clients their first month. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. All right, what else is on your mind?
What are you guys telling your new coaches about taxes? I mean, I know we can't give tax advice, but I feel like that's something that was missed with me. And now I'm missing it as I'm telling, like, save receipts. And just, does anybody have any kind of like fast bullet point things that you share with them, just so that they're not having to think back after the year's over on what they should have been tracking?
Debbie?
So I've was told, or I guess by you, Dee, that okay, you're a 1099. This is an entrepreneurial position. Talk to somebody for advice. And so I was, and the majority of the people that I'm meeting are entrepreneurs at this point in my like social world. So most of them already understand, oh, okay, it's a 1099. Okay, so that means I need to save receipts. So I would say for the majority of the people that I know, they already know what that means. But I would say, like, if it's a client who's like a work from home mom or whatever, then I would just say, talk to somebody for financial advice, because this is a different, you're getting paid everything right now. You pay your taxes at the end of the year. So you need to get some financial advice from a good, solid person who understands the business.
Anybody else have any input on that? Anything you might be doing, any of our leaders?
One thing Meg taught me, this is like super elementary, which is funny because Meg is like financial planner of the world. But one thing that she taught me that I've really done is just snapping a picture of all of the receipts. Like if I'm getting food, or if I'm like whatever is related, everything convention weekend, like just taking a picture of it and emailing myself in the moment with the subject line taxes 2022. And then I don't ever delete emails. So at the end of the year, when I go to do all my taxing stuff, I just say taxes 2022 and then compile all that for my statement. So that's like super elementary, but that's been really helpful for me.
And I would share one thing that is important is probably just telling new coaches who are not from an entrepreneurial background that they want to get into the habit of putting away, a third of their monthly bonuses, their monthly income. I think once they get into the habit of doing that as well, it's, they're learning to just live off of 2/3 of that, if they're using that in their daily living, because taxes are not taken away. That way they're planning ahead of time.
Yeah, I think that can be the biggest risk, is somebody who's not aware of that. And then at the end of the year, they get their 1099 and don't realize they have to pay the taxes on it. Somewhere along the way, I was taught, what your role is teaching people how to be good coaches and not really in the financial arena. And I think the biggest thing I've always been concerned about is never wanting to tell somebody what's tax deductible, what's not, right? Because I wouldn't want to be giving that advice. So what I do is what Debbie said is I will say clearly, and probably that's what we said to you, Jennifer, is that you are a 1099, and to talk to your accountant about what kind of records to keep. And I love, Lucy, what you said, probably that reminder that taxes are not deducted. Yeah, good question.
Yeah, if I could just jump in here for a minute, Dee, about that question. I think, a lot of coaches, we have such a heart for people and we really want to help people. But we have to remember, regardless of the question. So if you got a healthcare background, we don't wear that hat when we're coaches, right? People have marital problems or a relationship problem. We're not counselors. We're not therapists. People, have a tax question. Again, we're not tax advisors. So as much as we want to help people, we've got to be very careful in how we respond and how we, give guidance and, suggestions and our thoughts on that. It's always safer to put those type of things in writing, kind of protects yourself, and also punt the ball to somebody who really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, great reminder. Other questions?
I do. If I've got some potential coaches, that I'm they're from outside, they're not yet clients. Okay. Is it okay to, and they're in, like, for example, the medical profession, they're nurses. Is it okay to invite them to join our community time tomorrow night that's based around that topic?
Oh, absolutely. You can always invite anybody you want, you guys, to our community calls, whether you have a client candidate, a coach candidate. And I even, I like even team time, Coaches Out for Change team time. If you have a coach candidate, if you want them on, I don't feel like we say anything that I wouldn't say to, them up front. So you can always invite, but I think that one tomorrow night would be good. Frank, do you want to speak for a minute on tomorrow night's call, what it's going to be about?
Yeah, so I put out the flyers, basically going to be all medical professionals talking about the science and credibility of the program. So they're all going to give their titles, their educational background. I think 3 of them are physicians. One's a neurosurgeon, 2 emergency room docs, and then Ciata, who's on this call somewhere, she's a sports medicine and lifestyle physician. And then we have a nurse practitioner who's not a coach, but she is a client. So they're going to talk about, why this particular program attracts those type of people. And also, they're all going to touch on a little bit different thing about the science of the program and or why they stepped into coaching. And even those people that are speakers, I've encouraged them to reach out to their friends and family members and say, hey, I'm speaking on a national call, and invite those people to a call. So, if you've got a friend or a client or a coach or a coworker, and they don't know anything about our program, invite them. There's a hidden message in there that, why is a neurosurgeon a coach? Why is a sports medicine physician a coach? So I think there's a hidden message in there that lends a lot of credibility to our program.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had somebody I was talking to today, and she was worried about her blood sugar and her cholesterol. And, she, talking about this program beyond weight loss too, I think is so good. So great topic for that. The last couple of minutes, I just wanted to talk sometimes even about the elephant in the room or whatever. I know some, maybe you felt a drop in volume with your businesses in the month of June, maybe the month of July. And I don't know if you've got any concerns about the economy. Anybody have any questions around that or want to talk about that or talk about the seasonal nature of our business?
I am here for all of that. I would love to hear more about that. Yes.
Yes.
Because I did, I'm not afraid to say it. I've seen a dip. I've seen a decline in the last couple of months. And of course, I've had that thought of, well, groceries are so high and, the economy, this and that. On that note, though, I do feel like it's more affordable than ever to do our program because groceries are so high. But yes, I would love to hear more about that, Dee.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any expert opinions. I can only speak from experience and then also what's been shared with me along the way. But what I can tell you, I've been with the company since 2011, but I know through like 2008 recession, the company continued to grow, and the Optavia in general has continued to do well throughout economic times. Now, in general, we have to remember that we are in a sales related business, so it's going to be cyclical at times. And what we're seeing right now is one of the typical waves that we used to see. Things were everything got wonky in 2020, right? And I know a lot of you guys came in 2020, but things went a little wonky because people weren't taking as many vacations. They weren't doing as many things. But I think this year in particular, we got hit hard. I don't know about you, but so many of my clients were like taking that trip to Europe that had been on hold for 2 years and all the things. So we had lots of people that were just wanting to kind of live life again, right? So we had all that, which is not unusual because our business, from a seasonal perspective, a change in seasons generally leads to an increase in our business, generally, right? I can't predict the future, but a change in seasons in our world usually means back to school time, because back to school is typically, even if it's empty nesters or whatever, but back to school typically means summer vacations are over, et cetera. People are ready for structure, kind of like the holidays when people are like, okay, when the holidays are over, I'm going to do XYZ. Well, they're making those same kind of things right now. So we should be able to expect that the ship will start turning now. So I hope you've been in position. I hope you've been consistent and been out there and visible, because people are making decisions right now what they're going to do when it gets better. So know that these typical peaks and valleys in the summer are fairly standard in our business. And a growing business, one time a great example was given to me, like it showed Apple stock. And Apple stock is not like a line that went straight up. I mean, Apple stock has continued to grow over time, but it's been up, down, up, down, up, down. And what I did personally do is I went back and looked, because I mean, honestly, Sarah, I was freaking out a little bit, looking at the T-Gen for the group and whatever, but I went and looked at July and August of last year, or June and July of last year. It was the same exact pattern. I mean, like it mirrored it exactly. I also heard Dan and Megan Valentine, they were talking on their Real Talk last week. They were really clear. And they said, you know what, a lot of us who came in 2020, we built so much through social media. We just threw a post out. All these people came. People had extra money because some people did because the government was handing checks out. Things were just different. People didn't have the fear of, the economy as much. So we kind of came in as a boom and things were kind of easy. Not necessarily easy, but maybe easier than they feel right now. And some of the more old school methods of reaching directly out to people. And, maybe it's not just social media that is our source anymore. So keep that in mind, that maybe we do need to be making our own individual list and reaching directly out to people for the program and for coaching. And maybe joining networking groups, maybe hosting something in your home, like going back to those things that we know build a business that we didn't have to do as much of for the past 2 years. And I saw a couple people nodding their head around that. But like I said, like you nailed it, Sarah, like right now, being on program is really, for most people, I think more affordable than buying and eating healthy at the grocery store. So I would encourage you, we talked about it on Team Time a week or two ago, not to be afraid of our clients, but really have those conversations really with, having them look at their budgets, having them look at things if they're, canceling because of the cost of it. And that's when the conversation about coaching comes in, because, 5 clients and they're paying for their food, and that excuse is gone. And we know it locks in their security. So, yeah, so great point, Meg. In recession and finance, people flock to safety. Do you want to speak or anything on that, Meg? Because you've got that financial background.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think anytime there's unrest or people, things change, and for a lot of us, especially, younger people, like, this is the first time we're going through this. And so especially if you're a new coach, I totally get the feelings that we all have, right? We're all human. But if you look at the data, and it really helped me in talking to Dee and hearing her story, because she has been around, the longevity of her business is so long. So she was around in 2008 when everything went kind of bananas, right, for everybody else. But OptiV actually grew in times of, and we experienced the same thing with the pandemic, right? Those were some of the best months we've ever had. So people tend to flock to safety. Health is more important than ever, right? And we know people are always going to need food. We stand behind the value of what our fuelings offer to people. So I'm just personally trying to remind myself of that and position myself from this place of strength, because I know what we offer. And when things are uncertain, I want to make sure my health is in order. I want to make sure that the things that I can control are controlled. So that's what I think we need to be remembering in this season.
Such good points. And I think really to follow up with both what Lauren said and Sarah. So Sarah, you had said when times seem tough, that's when you lean in. That's exactly what we do right now, right? We show up, live by example. You guys, we're post-convention, right? Like, don't think people weren't watching your pictures and what you were doing. People are curious. I mean, usually the energy around that, because it kind of elevates you, right? You were at convention, like, what is this thing she's involved in? So be bold. Do a Throwback Thursday post to something that happened at convention. Share your story, do your lives, do your reels, be out there and be visible and be real. And then to follow with what Lauren said before, the abundance mindset. It is so easy, because I feel it too, right? When you get the cancellations left and right, and another one postponing, and this coach doesn't want to come on yet, and that one, like all the things. I think if we just have that abundance mindset, we've got 34 people at midday in the afternoon that are here because we want to do better and we want to grow and learn, that there are people like us out there that want to make a difference, in their own personal life. So it's our mission to be that light and to be out there and to find them. And we might have to work a little harder. Shake the trees a little harder, but whatever energy you're putting out, I can guarantee you, if you've got a scarcity mindset and you're like, oh my God, I got to do a post because I got to get somebody, if it's all in this got to get, that energy is frenzied, it's frantic. And regardless of what you're saying, people feel it. They'll feel it on the health assessment, et cetera. But if we just continue with our calmness in what we offer, the solidness of our program, the comprehensiveness of our program, the unmatched business model that we have, if we just continue to speak with it with confidence and rock it the way you always have, I honestly think we're going to start getting more and more people of the right people in mind, of the ones who really, truly do want to make change. So does that help, you guys? It's a season. It is a season. And that's why I like to talk about it, because I'm not going to be all Pollyanna that it's all great. But the reality is, this is when you keep swimming, Dory, just keep going. Cause they're out there. So, and what's really cool is, think of this as a learning experience, and it's your own game, playing field that you're going to be able to then support your coaches through in the future, to be like, I remember 2022, we weren't so sure what was happening, but all I know is I stayed visible on social media. I stayed on top of my personal health. I offered coaching more frequently than I'd ever offered it. And the right people came through for it.
I was going to add to that just a quick note as we end. You talked about structure a minute ago, and I put those referral notes that I've been writing in our regular coaching page to help. But one of the things for people who are pushed their orders, not canceled, but the same thing you said, they're finally taking the European cruise, they're finally going to Hawaii, they're finally going to Alaska, and they don't want to be on program. And I've seen a lot of pushing this summer because of that, not cancellations. I've written those people specifically saying school's starting and I'm looking forward to the structure, and our program falls so well into structure. When you're ready to be back with structure in your life, I'm here. And I just think it's a way to, like we talk about seed planting. And I think I'm preparing myself not to have a scarcity mindset, but I'm preparing myself. August might be a push month too, because even if you get back on program, if you have all these fuelings from the summer, but if they come back and start doing client calls, then they're going to be ordering in September, they're going to be ordering in October. Like, that's the good news. And so I write a ton of notes in the mail, and I think it makes a difference because it's just another way to reach people. So I just wanted to share that about structure.
Yeah, the personal touch, because a lot of people aren't answering their phones and all that stuff right now. But if they got a card in the mail from you, and you've seen, I mean, you guys have gotten my postcards. I mean, you can order inexpensive postcards off Amazon, whatever. Drop a postcard in the mail, just that human touch and that connection. We've got a realtor, a friend of ours, and I mean, that guy is so consistent with his just connection and staying in touch, that I think if your clients know that you're there for them when they're ready, they're going to come back. They will absolutely. They always do. That would be the only thing I would tell you from experience. They always come back. They always come back. We're looking at some other things, a potential, challenge, another health challenge or something to kind of rally people back together. So we're doing what we can on our end as well with it. So appreciate you guys being here. I don't want to go more than 45 minutes. I know everybody's time is valuable. Thank you for the feedback, the interaction. Thank you to everybody who shared. And tonight on Coaches Opt for Change, Lori Cole and I are going to be doing the top 10 secrets your coach wants you to know. So if you've got newer coaches you want to help move along, maybe for yourself, definitely want you guys on with us for that. So, and then we'll see you on the community call tomorrow night. So very good. Awesome to see you guys. We'll see you again next time. Bye.